Hello, how's it going? Thank you for tuning in today on this lovely Saturday. Usually it's just Thursdays, but I felt compelled to gather this Saturday. Beautiful day, beautiful sunny day today. Just to have a more relaxed session. Today is not really about anything in particular. I simply just wanted to spend some time with you today and share my story. Not the entire thing, obviously, but just a little background about me. The chapters that I went through in order for me to comply and follow my calling. And so I journaled about this and I transcribed it into my laptop because I'm able to better read it that way, because sometimes when I get inspired, especially in my journal, like I'll just go crazy writing and I can't really tell what I've written. So, I've often been assigned partners with the adjective impulsive, which has more or less the same connotations as reckless, if not synonymous. I would alternate between impulsive and rebellious. The latter became my secret lover, and it pleased me to be perceived as rebellious. It made me feel seen, appreciated, even if it was in a disapproving way. This arranged marriage to the first label then anchored my soul into fear. My faith and trust in God was fractured. I began conducting myself through scarcity and fear, which led me to have anxiety, depression. It formulated addictions. I started smoking. I would binge eat, had eating disorder. But the worst wound was my altered perspective in the world. The belief that there was never enough of anything. There was never enough of love, benevolence, abundance for anyone, especially for me. This is the belief that I had. And this perception stained my personality in the colors of greed, hate, envy, pessimism, hopelessness, and selfishness in attempts to survive an imaginary world that I was birthed into and by choice was keeping alive. Not to mention, I merely began to experience my life rather than live it. It was the undertow of my fractured faith that seemed impossible for me to escape on my own. And so I bowed to the power of the invisible reality. How could the world, how could God play favorites? What made others successful, and how? Were they not aware of what I knew to be the truth? Inadvertently, I had been indoctrinated into the false programming that I adopted as my beliefs and worldviews. You see, the mind is the ultimate gift that God had ever given us. But the faulty programming undermined my self-esteem, my relationships, my finances, and respectively, my faith. I felt out of place everywhere that I would go and with whoever I was with. And I was unable to identify the root of my disconnect, self-avoidance and invalidation. I didn't feel safe to express myself growing up, so I never did, and it made me a stranger to everyone, including myself. The pain of my mental and respective circumstantial prison silently materialized and expressed itself through weight gain. I placed my security on food, and I would savor short-lived love and comfort in each bite. Not to mention, I was free of any social condemnation as long as I didn't exceed the weight limit. Food is not really a valid addiction. Therefore, I was not an addict to anything. I wasn't hurting anybody. I was simply eating. Even if I had the awareness to recognize that I was developing a dependence on food for relief and admit that I had a problem, no one would take me serious. I would be accused of attention seeking. So perhaps it was best that I remained blindfolded. The demands of my environment at the time exhausted me. I felt forced to play a character that I didn't even identify with. I would abandon myself daily, believing self-sacrifice was equivalent to love, and that I was fluent in the ultimate language of love. Believing that if I failed to diminish myself, I'd somehow disrespect those I loved. And so I ate the blue Mario mushroom. I shrank myself to show my respect. I've always been a keen observer of life, and now admirer of life. However, when I was growing up, I began to notice families composed of giants. And I began to wonder how they managed, how there could be space for more than one. Unhesitantly, I welcomed my feelings on the observation. But they viciously grew. It led me to madness the more they grew. I began feeling like an outsider and a complete traitor within my own home. I feared being caught. As if I was made of glass, my paranoia of being caught escalated. And I felt like I was living two lives. The character I played and this new version of me that I carried. The identity split caused great discomfort, even pain. The pain similar to losing a thin shard of glass in your skin. The desperation to step into the real me and be whole ignited me and made me ravenous for a way out. I experienced a deep loneliness, and these strong feelings later carved an exit path for me. My golden ticket came, and it was absolute perfection. And to this day, I'm still in awe of how beautifully divine it was. You see, it covered me like a blanket, offering me comfort, offering me warmth, and sheltering me from the boogeyman attacks within my home. I was embraced in universal phagocytosis. My release felt like apopsis, and as I floated in time and space with the remnants of who I thought and knew myself to be, this is where I experienced entropy. This is where I encountered meteors, aliens, voids, big voids that took me lifetimes to escape. The universe holds up many stars and astral wonders, wonders in which I often lose myself admiring as a child. However, this is not where my growth journey birthed me. In the sinister pitch black corner of space, I learned to conquer the jump scares of my own reflections in a not so fun house. Some battles were won with black eyes and bruising. Regardless, battles were won. Some evil clowns were persistent, taunting me and haunting me. Their words would echo in my mind, in my dreams, in my sleep. These were my toughest galactic battles, for they carried sharp mirrors with them. Mirrors I would often cut myself with. Later, I appreciated them for the practice they provided me to be myself and elevated my ninja skills. And as I began graduating and defeating the not-so-scary clowns, in the victory spaceship, the Lord drew me into his powerful magnetic field Here, I experience true weightlessness, complete obliteration of gravity. Here, I was crowned with a new name, and like a blowed glass sculpture, I was lovingly sculpted and transformed into whole new creation. My old indoctrination wiped out, my blindness replaced with insight, my abandon melted in his embrace, my self-condemnation nulled and filled with love and freedom. My darkness was lit up with the flames of his sovereignty. He breathed life into my thoughts of death, and I was resuscitated. Like waking up from a dream, I now return to the land, Calgary, that I thought was barren and empty. The gray life I thought surrounded me progressively rose in hue. Like walking across a rope bridge, I began to walk in my new identity. And every day I am stronger and more aligned to my calling. The heart transplant came with some resistance initially, but there is no doubt that it is mine now. And there is no doubt that it beats for the highest of notes. Every once in a while, I get flashbacks, and I wonder, did my time in space really happen? Or was it a dream? Did I somehow accidentally walk into another dimension, a parallel universe? And if so, how long was I out? In retrospect, my leaps of faith were mistaken for impulsivity. My faith and freedom frightened those closest to me. How could I be so foolish to trust God? He is only a quirk for sanity and order. He holds no real power nor love for us. Right. Calling me impulsive was a way of begging me to stop believing in the air that carried and supported my wings. It was a way for them to call me back to the nest of fear, to return to predictability, which, ironically, predictably brought religiously the same dull lifestyle, day after day after day. You see, people will cast their nets of fear onto you in an attempt to hold you down. And most of the time, it's subconscious. So forgive them. I am confident that once you believe and once you obey and commit to the calling that you have been called to fulfill, you will cut free of those nets of fear. So believe in your calling, believe in yourself, cut free of the nets of fear, and believe God has much more in store for you, because He does. Who you are today is not even a quarter of a sliver of what God has in store for you. We haven't even touched the surface of the greatness that God has instilled within us. You haven't even begun to touch your potential. There's somebody watching this today that has felt held down by those nets of fear, by those nets of generational fear, layer after layer after layer, buried under all this fear. And that person that's watching this today, this year, soon, will break free. Because they know. Because you know. You know that you are called for greatness. And that you are not average. And I just pray that this person receives that. I pray that you receive that. That is all from me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending this beautiful, beautiful day with me. But yeah, remember, you are blessed.